All right, again, this is kind of a test, but and I could possibly put this up on the site. Yeah, so rather obviously, what's going on here is we're watching the draw, and I'm gonna try and make these, but I don't really want to be talking about drawing and unless people are really interested in that, because I think that might be rather boring for people. So I'm going to try and shift from talking about drawing. Um, Talking about some other things, um, various things. And if people have, if there's certain topics you want to discuss, we'll see how all this works. Right? The demand so far has been overwhelming, of course. Yeah, so first thing I was going to talk about is just books because I read a lot, right? And so one of the things I talk about, and if you're looking at the site, you probably read a good deal too. You're probably rather into reading. And one of the times that I really feel fortunate, one of the times that really feel glad I read is when I get on planes, right? If I ever get on a plane, I can't help but kind of look at what other people are watching. Because other people are watching, to planes, and people are watching movies on laptops and tablets and all these devices and whatnot. And since it's, how it is, right? You can't really help looking at a screen, right? When there's a screen, you go into a sports bar, you go in somewhere, there's a screen, your eye is pretty much drawn to it. And so, invariably during the flights, I'm always reading during the flight, I'm always reading some book during the flight, but invariably during the flight, I'm always kind of drawn to look at what other people are watching, what people are watching on their laptops. And yeah, one of the things I've noticed, one of the things I've definitely come to see is that one of the downsides of that, one of the real disadvantages, is that people are watching bad films on flights, and I think it's pretty obvious. They've watched the good stuff. Right? You've watched, or they've watched some of the good stuff, right? And they've run out of the kind of good stuff that they're interested in. They're watching bad stuff, like you can only watch Inception so many times, I guess. And I guess that I'm sure that's something. I mean, yeah, everyone seems to like that. Everyone seems to consider that really good. So on a flight, I'll see people watching something like Lone Ranger, or I'll see people watching these other kind of lesser-known films, or films I have no idea what these are. But what I'm really struck by is how bad a lot of them seem to be. I mean, a lot of them seem to be really pretty awful. And I imagine these are like these pretty straight to video kind of things. Well, Lone Ranger, straight to box office debacle, and then straight to DVD and these formats, of course. Man, watching Lone Ranger, not watching it, but watching like maybe say a few minutes every now and then, not even a few minutes, but just looking up every now and then at the guy on this flight watching the Lone Ranger. The pacing was just awful. I mean, you could tell. You didn't even have to have the volume, so of course I didn't. I mean, just looked painful, and I felt pretty bad. I feel really bad for kind of watching that. So yeah, but my point here is that doesn't really happen with books, right? I mean, with books, you're probably never really going to run out. I mean, you could spend your entire lifetime reading, and you probably would only really begin to scratch the surface of all the great things there's to read. And there's lots of great books to read. And honestly, if you're reading these great books and you go back, you're going to forget about them. You're going to go back. You can go back to them and read them again, like say 10 years later. I mean, easily. I mean, I do that all the time. Easily, you can go for years without reading these books and without reading really, really good books, and never run out of more really, really good books to read. And the human race has done a really remarkable job of producing some incredible literature. And I think that makes a lot of sense, right? It just doesn't cost that much to sit down and put pen to paper. And certainly now, printing presses, printing techniques, there's just no question, right? These things aren't terribly expensive. We produce a lot of great literature. Now, I should qualify this and say we've also made a lot of films, although we've had a lot less time at it. But the thing is, like, a lot of the people I see watching the films on planes, yeah, I'm sure they haven't exhausted all the good films. I'm sure there are plenty of good films, or I'm not sure, but I would imagine there are plenty of good films that they haven't seen, and that they're just not going to see because they're just not aware of them. for one reason or another. I remember I knew this guy, right? And he really liked films, and I said, "Oh, there's like this foreign film you should go see." And he said, and yeah, it was totally the kind of film you would like. It was some kind of real action kind of film. It was one of these Hong Kong John Woo films. I think it was actually The Killer, but I mean, he would love this, right? It was all out action, incredibly excessive, right? Just wonderful, the kind of thing he would have really liked, I think. Which is why I recommended it. I said, do I have to read subtitles? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's it's not in English, right? So you have to read subtitles during the film, but it's a film. There's not that much to read. It's like, oh man, I can't go read. I can't go to a movie. I can't go. I don't want to go have to go read something. I mean, there are a lot of people. There's students I come across, or where reading is just like, oh my god, this is just the most awful thing ever. And in some ways, I think that's not their fault. But we can get into that in a different discussion. Anyway, so my point here was going to be. My point is. It's one of the real advantages to reading. If you like books, you're basically never going to run out of great stuff to read. You're basically never going to run out of great things that you can read while you're stuck on a plane. Film, yeah, fine. I mean, that's great. And yeah, certainly I do watch films. I certainly would watch a film on a plane. But man, if you do not have if that's all you can take, right? If that's all you can really deal with, if you just can't deal with the written word, you're really cutting yourself out of just all this stuff. I mean, all these chances. And I can add, I mean, books. Books are cheap. Books are not expensive. I mean, you can go to a used bookstore and get a lot of books for not much money, and they will last you quite a while. In addition, there are these places called libraries, and they will let you take books away and keep them for a while and read them and bring them back. And they may charge you late fees if the books are overdue. But man, they charge you a pittance. It's not really even worth considering. It's really not a big deal. It's a great deal. Yeah, so very real kind of practical, practical advantages of the written word. So, all right, so peace out. First video of the day. We'll see if I do another, see if you get rolling here. All right, thanks. Take care. Bye.